Today on Locked On Red Wings, Detroit completes the St. Louis sweep, beating the Blues 5-2, of course, in St. Louis.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can get us wherever you get your podcasts. Scotty, the Red Wings cruise, honestly, to a 5-2 victory. Did not look like it was going to go that way at the start of the game, but they kind of quickly settled into what I would call their first good road victory of the season, first good road game, period, of the season, and a great way to start off a 5-game road swing. So we'll talk, of course, about our difference makers and our performers and all of that in this game before getting to the injury news out of Grand Rapids, as well as a little bit of a Danielson update that's separate to the injury news from Grand Rapids. So before we get to any of that, I got to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. All right, Scotty, this game, 5-2 victory for the Detroit Red Wings. It was a pretty back-and-forth hockey game for the most part between these two teams. Both teams kind of had turns controlling the pace of play, but the Red Wings come out on top, scoring 4 goals on 12 shots to start the game before finishing out 5-2 to finish the game for a victory to start this 5-game West Coast road swing. Who is your difference maker in this victory over the Blues?
So my difference maker is going to be Dylan Larkin, but I was really close to picking the third period, and I didn't ultimately. But the Blues did not get a shot on net in the first half of the third period. And when you are playing in a game when you have clearly taken the upper hand, it is so easy. And honestly, you saw it at the end of the second period, right? You had the 2 penalties to end the second. It was really gross. And you're like, okay, like, don't let your foot off the pedal. Like, you know, all the old like cliches, right? You're like, I really don't want to give them momentum with a 3-goal lead going into the final period here. And it just it just didn't matter. Like they completely shut them down and did not allow a shot on goal. I think it was like 12 or even 13 minutes into the third period was finally when St. Louis finally got a shot on net. So I was really close to picking the third, but ultimately Dylan Larkin was unbelievable in this game. 3 points, 2 goals, and an apple. Obviously, honestly, my favorite moment of the game from him was when he almost scored a shorthand goal, and it was technically it would have been only down 1 player, but like it was very close to being down 2. And he didn't end up scoring the goal anyway, obviously, but it was really aggressive all night. It was great defensively. Played in every situation, as we always talk about. But the biggest thing for me, maybe biggest is hyperbolic, because like 2 goals in a 3-goal game is obviously a really big deal. But we have to draw our attention to my favorite statistic, okay? Dylan Larkin effing dominated the faceoff circle. It is mind-boggling. He went 14 for 19 in the faceoff circle in this hockey game. Okay, nobody else on the wing. I mean, JT Compher went 3 for 4, like solid day. Andrew Kopp 1 for 2. Casper 4 for 9. Like, I guess you'll take that. Michael Rasmussen 5 for 11. Sure, like all these other guys are around 50% and not getting a ton of opportunities. Dylan Larkin went just under 74% from the faceoff circle in a game in which he almost took 20 faceoffs. That is remarkable. And I think that he just impacted the game in every way imaginable. Like you have in the circle, you have in the defensive zone, you have on the penalty kill. That was great again in this one. You have on the power play, right? And obviously you have goal scoring, like just literally every facet of the game he was in complete control in. And they said it on the broadcast, and it's really hard to deny. This might be the best hockey he's played in his whole career. And it's 10 games, but like, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a better 10-game stretch from Larkin in his career up to this point.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, it's the best start the Red Wings have had. I think you said it before the show, since like 2011, 2012.
Yeah, that's also FanDuel put up a graphic, FanDuel Sports Network. It's the most wins they've had. It's the first time they've reached 7 wins in the team's first 10 games of a season since 2010-11, according to FanDuel Sports Network. So
right, and a lot that literally does not happen without Dylan Larkin, who has now got 16 points in the first 10 games of the season, which is, mind you, tied for second in the NHL, just behind Jack Eichel. Yeah. So he is off to one of the hottest starts in the NHL for any player. Another 3-point night to show for it in this one. They love that set play off the faceoff, winning it back to the defender, and then Larkin streaks to the slot. That's the second time that's worked successfully for them. This time it was Edvinsson feeding Larkin, but he scored on that. Obviously, he got the empty net goal, and he also assisted on the DeBrincat power play goal. He got the secondary assist on that one. So 3-point night for Dylan Larkin, and again, when Raymond's not scoring and DeBrincat's, although he scored in this game, off to a slowish start, although he's heating up to score goals. Patrick Kane's hurt. Like the scoring's got to come from somewhere. Now, I will say scoring has to continue to heat up from other guys in the top 6, because Kasper's been cold too, because Larkin will cool off eventually. But Dylan Larkin has very much carried this team offensively to start the year, and it's fantastic to see. He's been, as you put it, like even outside the scoring, he's been captain material. The face-off circle, the defensive side of the game. Dylan Larkin he's Dylan Larkin. He's as advertised. This is what we've come to know from him. He's a very, 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 very good hockey player.
And again, this might be this might be the again, it's a 10-game stretch. I'm not saying he's going to like put together the best season of his career necessarily, but I think that you'd be hard pressed to find a better 10-game stretch from Larkin in his career.
Right. My difference maker in this hockey game, Scotty, is actually going to go to the fourth line. Fourth line was unbelievably good tonight, and it's the best game of the season for Elmer Soderblom. He has been trying to add a physical element to his game, and you could see it in this one. He tied the team lead in hits in this game for the game itself. MBN still leads the team lead overall, but he had 3 hits in this game. Ben Chiarot was the other player who had 3 hits. You could see him being a lot more physical, and if you can add that to his tool bag, that's going to go a long way along with his stick handling ability, because his pure size is going to make him a force physically. Like, even if he's not a great hitter, like his sheer, you saw it in the third period. Someone tried to, I think it was Joseph, I could be wrong on that one, but somebody tried to stand him up, and he just ran him over on the forecheck. Right. So having that to his tool bag is going to go a long way to solidifying him in a bottom 6 role every single night. But even outside that entire line had a great game. They were very involved and fantastic at transitioning out of the zone and then in the offensive zone, engaging in those board battles, winning those board battles, and getting chances out of it. Obviously, Elmer Soderblom ended up getting rewarded with a goal in this game. I think it was the 4th goal, and then a lot of that had to do with Michael Rasmussen coming back into this game off of being scratched for the first time, as far as I can tell, in his career, winning a very important board battle below the goal line to find Elmer Soderblom out net front. So it's great that Soderblom got awarded with a goal. It was great to see Michael Rasmussen be physical and win a board battle. And the 4th line all night long was great. The advanced data backs it up as well. Each of those players had a 70 percentile or better in shot attempt share at 5-on-5, and their expected goals for percentage was over 80%, with Michael Rasmussen leading the team at 88% expected goal share. So they had a fantastic, their line as a whole had a 71% shot share. So I know a lot of that doesn't mean a lot to some people. It's just their line basically dominated shot attempts for when they were on the ice. They only faced 4 shot attempts against at 5-on-5 the entire game. Granted, ice time, right? But the ice time at 5-on-5 was pretty well split. Every single line got about 10.5 minutes at 5-on-5. Every single line. No forward line got significantly more than another one. Like that's perfect.
So every forward for just even strength time on ice, every single forward on the team was between 12 minutes and 15 minutes. And the only person that even hit 15 was Dylan Larkin, who hit 15:04. Pretty much everybody else was between 12 minutes and 14:40.
You were able to divvy up the responsibilities, and everyone,
right, which
for
is
the most part, did their job.
Dream scenario, right? Like when you have the depth and the production to be able to not have to rely on the top line or the top six, whatever it be, so heavily, you give yourself that ability, and that's what every team strives for. That's like the goal
right.
of production distribution, right, and making the lineup card look the way it does. Like that's the goal. So this was truly a beautiful game, and not only, like you said, is it, I think pretty comfortably the best road game, the best road performance they've had this year. I think this is up there with some of the best performances they've had just period so far this season.
It's also, like, I believe at least 3 straight games where depth scoring has played a role, which is something that we were begging for last year. I was just talking earlier about like how Dylan Larkin is going to cool off, and you need those other players in the top 6, but the bottom 6 has been doing their job. They've been chipping in a goal here and there. Like you had Berrigan and Comfer, who just scored. Berrigan scored in back-to-back games. Comfer scored last game. In this game, you had Soderblom contribute. So, you're getting a goal here and there from your bottom 6, and that's what you're asking for. So, important to note. Scotty, let's head to a quick break. When we return, we'll talk about kind of the game as a whole and notable performers as well. So, stay tuned for that. Segment 2 of Locked On Red Wings. Hockey season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real. Getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer for your team. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring goals and scoring amazing NHL tickets, fast, easy, and stress-free. I'm just so distracted by the goals the Red Wings scored today in the last game against the Blues. I've recently used Game Time to grab seats for the January game against the Carolina Hurricanes. It's the Sergei Fedorov retirement night, and it couldn't have been simpler. I had great seats in minutes. The best thing about Game Time is what you see is what you get, and I mean that with the pay. A lot of these other ticket sellers, they hide the fees until you get to checkout, not Game Time. The price you see when you click on the seat to preview it is the price you get because they roll the fees in for complete transparency for the customer. They also have zone deals, and that's a huge game changer. You pick the section, and Game Time picks the seat. You save big. You can even find NHL tickets for under $25. Take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Segment 2, Locked On Red Wings podcast. All right, Scotty. Real quick, this hockey game starting out didn't seem like it was going to go the way it did. Right?
The Blues jumped out to a 1-0 lead, and honestly, I'm right there with you. Like this was a game. They mentioned this also on the broadcast. Ozzy stepping in for color commentary, by the way, did a fantastic job. It was really interesting hearing them talk about the stats of the Red Wings in the first period so far this season. They had mentioned that the Wings have the fewest amount of first period goals in the entire NHL. At least they did going into this game. So the fact that they were able to not only go down 1-0 and just respond and just get a goal, but just to score in the first period, period. Like just to be able to say that the Red Wings this year, scored in the first when that's been so rare and, few and far between on the year, I think is a big deal. And for that to also be in response to going down early, that's just a bad trend we've seen a lot lately. They either get penalized or give up a goal very early, and that's been the last 4-ish games have all kind of looked like that. So for them to not only respond, but to respond and then completely suffocate and dominate the rest of the hockey game, I think goes a long way and is important. So, didn't let their foot off the gas. Again, they're at the end of the period there. It was at the end of the second, did I say? It was either the end of the first or the second. They, had a couple of penalties, and you were like, okay, don't let them back in. But outside of that, I mean, it was complete upper hand, and I think that that first period goal goes a long way in that.
Yeah, and you can actually see if you ever pull up the natural stat trick, and I'll pull it up for the people here, the natural stat trick shot attempt chart. You can see literally when the Red Wings just woke up. And it was about halfway through the first period. You can see it just drop down to the Red Wings territory there as the Red Wings woke up and they began to get a lot more shot attempts. And then they ended up having the better first period despite the very slow start. It was I thought the St. Louis Blues were the better team in the second period. I thought the Red Wings got lucky early on. The St. Louis Blues came out of the intermission pushing, and the Red Wings got lucky. Buchnevich missed a wide-open backdoor just tap-in goal. But the Red Wings, on their few opportunities, capitalized because they got grade A chances they did not miss on, which, again, we've been harping on finishing for this hockey team early on the year, and they were able to finish in this hockey game. And then special teams clutched it out late in the second period, and then they completely shut down the Blues offense for the bulk majority of the third period. So really a back and forth game, but I think the Red Wings showed some important areas of growth for a road game with how they played in this one. When it comes to notable performers, Scotty, outside of the guys we've already mentioned, who else do you have?
Yeah, I don't think we mentioned Cat. We might have, passing comment.
He scored, but
that he scored. But it's a redirect, right? A tip in, but we'll take it. And I think he has over 30 shots on the season. Just had one goal going into this game. So I don't really care how it comes at this point. It just. They're going to need him. They're going to need him to score at a high clip, and any way to get that going and to get, water to find its level a little bit, I will gladly take. So it was really nice to see him just put the puck in the back of the net, and he had an assist in this game as well. So we'll take a 2-point night. Yeah,
it's great to see him find the back of the net because, like I said in the first segment, is him getting going is going to be so important to this team because when Dylan Larkin inevitably does cool off a little bit, you'll need scoring from elsewhere in the top six. So him getting back on the board with that redirect, I don't care if it was a redirect, right? It was a good tip on a shot from Moritz Seider, and they all count the same at the end of the day, right? We're not here bemoaning Larkin for getting a second goal via empty. Right? They ask how many. So that was really important. I think that's an extension of the special teams too. Power play goes for 1 for 2. Yeah. Penalty kill goes 2 for 2. Special teams units continue to be good. Some of my worries with the power play have recently been diminished. Going into this drought without Patrick Kane, I was concerned about how much they would be scoring. And while they're not scoring at the crazy clip they were last year, they're good for about 1 a game. And that's really all you can ask for.
So I have a question. I agree with everything you said. I don't really have anything to add re-power play. I do want to ask you about the kill. On a scale of 1 to 10, okay, put you on the spot a little bit. I did not debrief you on this question, pre-show, so I apologize. But scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most confident you've ever been about anything in your life, 1 being this is the worst penalty kill I've ever seen and they're just faking it. What is your confidence level in said penalty kill 10 games into the season? Because they right now are a top 10 kill in the NHL. And I am wondering how legitimate we think that is, how sustainable, I guess is the word that I should be using, we think that is the rest of the way.
I think it's pretty legit so far. I think I'm pretty confident in it. I don't know if they're going to remain a top 10 team, but one of my bold takes before the season is they jump back to be a top 15 team. Mm-hmm. And I think with how they're playing that it's very sustainable. You're getting good plays. Like on the first penalty kill, Comfer came back from the top of the diamond and made a great stick lift on the bumper player. And on the second penalty kill, Gibson made an incredible save on Falk, and then you saw the mini breakaway chance Larkin had, and it was
Right.
actually Falk on the back check trying to negate that, and he successfully did. So I think some of it's a little bit of luck, but of course it is. It's the penalty kill. I do think that the way they're running it right now has given them success and continuing to build off it. Yeah, so I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty confident in the penalty kill, and I'm confident in the power play. So it's just if the 5-on-5 play can keep up. And so far, through 10 games,
right,
it's been,
which has also been a lot
inconsistent, but when it's on
Right.
very good.
That's a fair way to put
like
it.
last year, the 5-on-5 play was just terrible no matter what, and they were winning games through their power play just being unbelievably good.
The last 10 years.
But, right, this season, when the 5-on-5 play is on, it is on. It's just mostly those days where it's not. They're chasing the play. They're behind. Right. They're dumping and changing because they're in the defensive zone the whole time. And then you saw that a little bit in this game, too, at the start. But then they turned it on, and then they were good. So
I want to ask about Gibson, but I know we got to get to a break here. So we can tease that. Save it for after.
John Gibson coming up. Lockdown Red Wings.
Thanks.
You're welcome. All right, segment 3, Lockdown Red Wings podcast. Scotty, what about Gibson?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that this was a really solid performance, obviously. He had a couple of really big saves. I don't know. It's been a weird year so far. We're 10 games in, but like it's been a weird season for him where there's a couple of games that you really are like, wow, that was not a very good performance. And then there's some where and he wasn't exactly challenged like a ton in this game, but he did have a handful of high danger opportunities that he was able to save. I thought this was a really good performance, and I think it's one that again isn't gonna like make your eyes like turn into hearts and be like, oh my goodness, like this is the best performance I've ever seen, look at these stats. But at the same time, I think it's one that he can build momentum from, and I think that that's the hope. So just want to like tip of the cap, give him his flowers a little bit. That there was a backdoor that St. Louis probably should have scored, but like it is what it is. Like I think that he
he also made some huge saves too, right?
Say that again.
I didn't mean to cut you off,
good.
but he made some huge saves too to kind of like offset. Okay, he got lucky a couple times, but he made huge saves to keep the Red Wings in it. Obviously, I mentioned the save on Falk on the penalty kill. He made a big save earlier in the game. Did I write it down? I would have been smart to, but I did not. So I don't remember who that was on.
He had one toward the end of the first period, where he went post to post. Yeah,
right. And so he was. When he had to step up, he did. Of the 17 5-on-5 shots he faced in this game, 5 of them were high danger, which means over a quarter of the 5-on-5 shot attempts he faced were high danger, which is a lot, and that's something the Red Wings are going to want to clean up. But he only allowed 1 high danger shot against. He didn't allow any low danger goals, only 1 high danger, 1 medium danger goal. The first one he had no shot on because that was like a shot attempt that got redirected right to who was it? Braden Shen, who scored that goal.
Man, Shen was a menace in this. I mean, like that's how he plays. He always is. But like he was an absolute like demon in this game, just throwing the body out like nobody's business. I think that's another point too. If you have something else to say on Gibson, go for it. But this is a Red Wings team that for the last couple of years we have really harped on, like, okay, when stuff gets physical, they crumble. And like they have gotten bullied by teams over the last couple of years. And I'm not saying that St. Louis put on like, looked like Ottawa a couple of years ago or was playing like the Panthers at full health necessarily, but like they were throwing the body around. And there was some really big hits in this game, especially after St. Louis's timeout. I think that was clearly something that was talked about in the timeout. Like, it was like, hey, you're up 1-0 and I've done 4-1. Let's maybe like play with a little bit of energy and physicality here. The Wings didn't shy down from any of it. Ben Chiarot gave a hit back. There was a fight in this game.
Travis
Hamonic. They really didn't back down from anything. So I want to, again, not that the Wings were necessarily like some really aggressive physical team, which is what we're hoping to see maybe more of throughout the year. But I think that they responded to physicality being thrown their way very, very well.
I agree with that. The Blues did like double up the Red Wings in hits. I think it was like 30-15 or something close to that.
Makes sense.
But they weren't just throwing the body to just throw the body. I felt like the Blues were doing a little bit of that, just trying to, kind of like what Detroit did after McClellan called the timeout the game prior, just try to get a spark. And if that's why Hamonic got into that fight, because the Red Wings started slow.
I might have to bag me a Hamonic jersey,
Oh, stop. But, Hamonic got into that fight to try and spark the team because they got off to a slow start, albeit he ended up shutting down what was going to be a 3-on-2, but did not realize that. His heart was in the right place, and I respect him for it. That does lead me to talking about the D pairs, which we saw get shaken up in this game. We saw a full game of Edvinsson and Moritz Seider together, and I thought they looked really dang good in this hockey game. I love Seider and Edvinsson together. I think they bring out the best of each other. Edvinsson obviously was struggling defensively with ASP, and I think Seider kind of, I almost want to say, gives him a safety net.
No, of course. The word I was going to think was gives him stability. Like it literally is
stability is better. Stability is better.
There's a stable, rock that you have where it's just like, oh, stuff goes wrong, I'm still in a pair with Seider. Like, it'll
like
be fine.
He's more almost more confident playing in the defensive zone, knowing that he has a very competent defensive partner in Moritz Seider with him. Although, because if we're going to be fair's fair, that goal that Chiarot scored doesn't happen if Moritz Seider doesn't make a lazy poke check.
For sure.
I love Moritz Seider. I think he had a great game
in this game too. Like there's always, stuff that you can kind of poke holes in, but
I know. I just want to be fair, right? We talk. Sure. That was you don't see Seider do stuff like that very often. That was a lazy poke check on his part that led to a goal against. Definitely. But I thought that pair as a whole played really well. I actually thought Ben Chiarot and ASP had a good game. Ben Chiarot continues to have the best season he's had with the Detroit Red Wings since he signed his contract here early on. He got rewarded with a goal. He kind of looked like he sent the puck towards Casper for a redirect, but it ended up going off Falk. Name I'm saying a ton in this episode, apparently.
Oh, he was everywhere, yeah.
Right, and he got rewarded with a goal, and I thought that they played pretty solid together. Chiarot brings like a physical kind of protection element to ASP, and ASP...
Cool. And that happened, right? ASP got hit, and Chiarot, went over there and started a scrum. Like that literally happened in this game. So yeah, and if Chiarot keeps playing the way that he has been, I don't think I'll mind that. And then like Hamonic and Aljo can be that's a solid third pair. I'm totally fine with that too. So yeah, I mean, I think there's obviously still room to grow for ASP, but I think in general that, again, like credit to the third pair too, but I think that top four looked, because the big worry with putting Edvinsson on the top pair, as we talked about literally all summer, was just like, are you going to make your blue line paper thin? Like, is this going to be a situation where that happens and then you just don't have anybody in the bottom four? And I don't think that was the case, at least in this game. It's a one-game sample. We'll see, like what it looks like going forward. And Edvinsson clearly needed a little bit of a reset in general, just for like his own sake too, because he had been struggling the last few games. But I was impressed with everybody. The Blue, I mean, really everybody in the game, man. This was such a well-played all-around hockey game by the Wings. They kept their head on their shoulders. They played hard for 57 minutes, 55 minutes, and they got rewarded for it.
Yeah, I'm still not completely sold on Hamonic and Albert Johansson as a pair, but I just know that
fair.
I also know that that's just going to be a rotation. Like it's going to be Hamonic and it's going to be JBD rotating in and out of the lineup in that spot. So it's an upgrade over last year's third pair. I will say that. Sure. Albert Johansson on the third pair with anyone is probably going to be an upgrade rather. Scotty, as far as this game goes, I think we've pretty much hit on everything we wanted to. The third line kind of got crushed in this hockey game. I think that's worth noting as well. For sure. They, as a line, only had 2 shot attempts for and 12 shot attempts against. Not great.
Well, I think that's why you saw, more shifts from the fourth line too, because the opposite was happening with them.
Right. They had a rough game as a whole, but not rough enough that it came back to bite them. That's all I'll say about that because it's a good win, and we're going to move on. Scotty, news came out of Grand Rapids today that Carter Mazur was hurt in practice, and he's going through further evaluations, and that sucks big time. The Grand Rapids Griffins played the Iowa Wild tonight. I'm not sure what the result was. I knew that went to overtime. Iowa tied it up late in that hockey game. But obviously, Carter Mazur was on our short list of players to get called up after this game was over. Could meet in California because Red Wings are only carrying 12 forwards. I thought Carter Mazur was, one or two on that list. So him getting hurt again because he was hurt at the end of training camp. Obviously, he had a season-ending injury last year. He has just fallen into that injury-prone category, and that blows for a player who I really think whose style of game and energy level would really benefit this bottom six. So I'm really hoping that this is a short-term, day-to-day thing, and that he's back in the lineup and knocking on the door for the NHL soon. But, man, once you get that injury-prone label, it's really hard to shed it in the eyes of fans and organizations.
Yeah, well, and part of that is the type of injury, right? If it's similar injuries over and over again, then yes, I think there's something to be said for, like, he's still very young, and honestly, like, I think the concern for me is just the fact that with the style of hockey that he plays, like he's never going to protect himself like a ton. So I think that's kind of the worrisome angle in my head is just, is he going to be able to sustain it? But I also think that, thinking about, like, is he going to be able to, like, play a full, like, we're getting way too ahead of ourselves. He's not even an established NHL player yet. And I hope he gets the opportunity, and I hope that he even gets a chance to shake that label relatively soon.
Dude, me too.
It sucks because he's a good kid, but it also sucks from the lineup in Detroit's perspective, because I think over the last 7 months he's been like minutes away from being an NHL established NHL player like 3 different times, and keeps getting hurt right when that situation presents itself. So that sucks, and hopefully it's nothing too serious.
On the flip side, Nate Danielson played again tonight. Griffins did win in a shootout, by the way, over Iowa, so they continue their hot start to the season. Danielson scored a goal in this game, had 5 shots, and based on the highlights that Red Wings prospects are posting online, I don't know how much longer you can keep him down in the AHL, and that's really exciting. He obviously just got back from his injury, so I wonder if they continue to give him a couple more games, but he looked like an NHL player in this game. He looked like he did not belong in the AHL and got rewarded with a goal, and that makes me incredibly excited because as well as the bottom 6 has been chipping in with goals, Nate Danielson, I think, could be a massive improvement in the bottom 6 or maybe top 6 as well. If Patrick Kane continues to be hurt, maybe you throw Danielson out there on the wing. Who knows? But regardless, I'm getting ahead of myself. I think that he is... McClellan said it during the either practice or game media availability the other day. He's confident he's going to see Danielson in the winged wheel sometime this season. And I'm hoping, based on what we're seeing in Grand Rapids, it's sooner rather than later.
Yeah, for sure. It is, like I've said already a few times this year, man, like this organization has the best depth it has had in quite some time, and that is leading to situations like this where people get hurt, but people, that presents other opportunities for other players to step up and fill those voids. And so far so good, man. 7-3 in 10 games is not something to just gloss over and be like, oh, like it's early, whatever. Like that's a legitimate celebration worthy thing.
Yep. Put yourself in very good position going forward. The trick is to just not go on massive losing streaks. And so far, that 4-goal comeback the other night kind of stunted that losing streak and stopped it where it stood, and now you have won back-to-back games. So 4 more games on the road, 3 in California. 2 of those are back-to-back, Thursday and Friday. So a lot of games in a short amount of time, but an opportunity to go on an early important road trip and come back with a lot of points. And that's going to be massive for the Red Wings going forward. Scotty, do you have any final thoughts?
We ball, baby.
We do ball. We'll be back with a new episode tomorrow, previewing a game. I can't remember. It's LA. It's LA and then it's Anaheim because it's Talbot and then it's Gibson. So stay tuned for that. Same time, same place. Your team every day.